And we have arrived to Friday. It's Friday, folks. TGIF edition of the show, the number one forum, the hottest forum, the biggest ticket for Crimson Tide football news, notes, and information in my own words with yours truly, your conductor of all things Bama football, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, coming to you from the magic city of Birmingham. Happy to have all of you tuning into the show on this evening. Thankful that everybody's safe and sound. I know there was crazy weather, crazy storms going on yesterday, but thankfully, thankfully the good Lord has got us alive and well and being able to do this show on today. And we're bringing you the show through YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, give us a thumbs up, like the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on so that way we can continue to provide to you the best news, notes, information, and coverage on your Crimson Tide. Also, we got you covered on Facebook and Twitter as well. So all forms of social media got you locked, loaded, set up, and ready to go. No excuse whatsoever for you not to be locked in to the number one forum for Crimson Tide football. The show brought to you by WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That is WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. If you haven't done so, go ahead right now and get you that four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, showing that support to Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and the tradition, the pageantry of owning and or dominating the fourth quarter. So check them out right now. WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Guys, shout out my man John Ivory one time in the production studio. Happy to have my man in the building here with me, and we're happy to have you, the Tide fan base, checking us out on this evening. We want to hear from you. 205-448-1358. That's the number to call. That's the number to dial to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. And speaking of you, the fans, give yourselves a hand because of you guys. Touchdown Alabama Magazine, we are 14,000 subscribers strong on the YouTube channel. It's because of you guys. Your love, your support, your passions, your super chats. You guys making us your show, your network to give you the Alabama football news because of you guys. 14 subscribers strong on the YouTube channel. Appreciate all that you do. Also, that daily super chat goes $75. Daily super chat go. You guys have been tremendous on that aspect as well. Donating, dropping the love in the TDA head, showing us your support. A daily super chat go there, $75. But got a lot to dive into, a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. And we start the show off with this right here. On Wednesday, we all interpret things differently. And this is what makes college football great. This is what makes Alabama football great. This is what makes America the country that it is. Because if everybody spoke the same, if everybody talked the same, if we all laughed the same, it would be a pretty boring country, to say the least. So it's great when you have different opinions, different thoughts, different debates, different conversations. Everybody has a different viewpoint. It makes the world go round. So on Wednesday, Coach Saban took the podium after the third spring practice of Alabama, spring football here. So Coach Saban takes the podium, and among the first things he discusses was Bryce Young is probably a little bit ahead of everybody else in the quarterback room. That's what he said. Bryce Young probably a little bit ahead of everybody else in the room. Now, the moment fans heard that part right there, the moment fans heard that sentence, Bama Nation took it and ran out the front door like people taking cookies out of the bakery. Bama fans took it and ran right out the front door. They didn't hear, the part where Coach Saban goes, he's probably a little ahead. Bama fans heard Bryce Young and ahead in the same sentence, and they said, that's it. He's ahead. He's the guy. Took it, ran right out of the bakery with that. Now, everybody, once again, have their own interpretations of what Coach Saban mentioned there. So, for me, my interpretation of all of this, in my opinion, this is setting up to be the biggest A-Day game, the biggest spring game of the Nick Saban era. This spring, this A-Day, mark it on the calendar right now, Saturday, April 17th, noon Central Time, Bryant-Denny Stadium, ESPN having the call on this. This will be the biggest, the most significant, the most critical, the most crucial, the most important A-Day game of the Nick Saban era. And to me, normally A-Day serves as a formality, right? You got the husband and the wife with the children. You got the boyfriends, the boyfriend and girlfriends going to the A-Day game. You've got catching up with old friends, old colleagues, reminiscing on old times, and you're just happening to watch a sporting event right in front of you. To me, that open practice in August, that first weekend in August, to me, typically, that's the big moment because the open practice symbolizes your 2 to 3 weeks before the start of the season. So that will be the moment where you are seeing the guys on the field at Bryant-Denny. You're looking at who will be the starters, who will be the marquee contributors, who will be the individuals that will emerge and make Alabama football what it is for that particular season. So normally, the open practice is the big deal, and A-Day is the formality. However, there have been a couple of moments where A-Day has been more than just a formality, and this will be one of those moments. And the reason why is U.S. fans, y'all want to know for real, what is this future at quarterback? I mean, it's cool to read the stories. It's cool to read the page clippings. It's cool to hear what the people like me have to say on YouTube about this deal. But it means more to you as fans when you can watch this with your own eyeballs. When your own eyeballs behold, is Bryce Young really the guy? When your own eyeballs behold Paul Tyson, when your own eyeballs behold, Jalen Milroe, then it becomes more real to you because you're watching it and you're seeing it for yourself. And after not having an A-Day game this past season, y'all starving. Y'all hungry. Y'all did not, half of y'all fans I can take, and y'all can go butt naked through a jungle right now and come back with a full mink coat on. That's how hungry y'all are right now. That's how starved of a spring game you guys are right now because y'all didn't get this last year. Y'all didn't have this last year. Y'all want to see, for real, and I'm talking about to you, the Bama fans, that Bama football pumps through your veins like your life depended on it. If I was to cut you open right now, your blood would spill Alabama football on the ground. These are the fans I'm talking to. Y'all want Bama like y'all lives depended on it. And, for you guys, not having a spring game last year, not having an A-Day last year, it bothered you. It frustrated you because you wanted to see what does Alabama have on this football field, in terms of a quarterback position. And even though there's going to be payment to get into this A game, it's a $5 general admission. If we can come off of $4 for a Wendy's 4 for $4, if we can come off some money for that Wendy's biggie bag, if we can come off some money for different things we want to come off of, we can come off of that $5 for that A-Day game. It doesn't matter if it's $5, $10, $15. This is an opportunity to see what does Bama have right now at the quarterback position. And just, for me, reason why this A-Day game is the biggest at the Nick Saban era, Bryce Young has garnered so much attention, so much talk, so much conversation, and granted, he's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of ability. Bryce Young has garnered so much conversation that he can actually go out here on A-Day and have an average game, right? He can go out there and go 11 for 20 passing. That's 55% for 200 yards, 1 touchdown, no turnovers. He can have numbers like that, and you instantly go, that's QB1. That's the starter. That's the man. That's it. Crown him. Put the cape on him. Put the S on his chest. He's Superman. There's Bryce Young. There he goes, folks. There he goes. In terms of Paul Tyson, Paul would literally have to take your cornea, your retina, your entire eyeball out of its socket. Take both of them out and stick them right back in. Paul Tyson would have to rip your soul through your nose and then stick it back up the passageway before you begin to go, like Paul Tyson would have to have 300 to 400 passing yards with 4 to 5 touchdowns and no turnovers for you to go, oh my gosh, he's good. He's really good. Hey, bruh, did you know he was good? Bruh, swear, no cap. You thought he was good for real? Bruh, I declare I didn't think homeboy was that good. I promise you I thought he was just Paul Barry Bryant's great-grandson. Hold on. Good. You knew he was good? Good. I declare I didn't know Paul Tyson was good. How you know he was good? Good, no cap. How you knew? You knew? How you knew? It'll be for real. He would have to sit there and put up those types of numbers for us to even begin a conversation of Paul Tyson being in this quarterback situation. He would have to go up there and put just uncanny numbers there on the table. And then lo and behold, if Jalen Milroe comes out being the guy in this spring game, then we all have to kind of turn the marbles over, the rope over, the whole conversation upside down if Jalen Milroe becomes the guy in this. But just singling this out between Bryce and Paul here, where this quarterback room is concerned, if you don't want to see the conversation stretched out into the summer, into the fall, and into the season, whoever wants this job, they're going to have to get it in the A-Day game. They're going to have to dominate in the A-Day game. They're going to have to take it in the spring game because, like I said, all of you are watching the spring game. All of you are watching. If Bama football is pumping through your blood right now, you would have to be in one of 3 places. You got to be at this A-Day game at Bryant-Denny. You have to be at home with the TV, the surround sound, all of that hooked up, or you got to find yourself in a sports bar and grill. Whatever the case may be, you got to watch this A-Day game because this is the future of the quarterback position of your Crimson Tide. And if you are valuing Alabama football the way you're saying that you are valuing Alabama football, your butt got to be right there with the Alabama football entails. But for Bryce Young and for Paul Tyson, this is a situation where if you don't want the conversation stretching all the way into the summer, all the way into fall camp and into the season, whoever wants this, they got to take it here in the A-Day game. And for me, it all kind of goes back to, 2016 where this spring game was not a formality. And I remember Alabama had Blake Barnett on the roster at that time, David Cornwell on the roster at that time, Cooper Bateman on the roster at that time. But when we left the stadium in 2016, we left going, holy balls. This Jalen Hurts. And I remember when I left the stadium in particular, and our photographer, Cedric Mason of TDA, good dude, great dude. I mean, when I left the game with Ced in 2016, Cedric and I, we locked souls, like we locked eyeballs. And I remember Ced told me, Steven, bruh, this number 2, this Hurts, Jalen Hurts, that's your starter. That's QB1. That's your starter right there. And we saw this coming out of the stadium from the A-Day game, and we all saw what happened at the end. Jalen became the guy. If you remember 2018 and 19, those 2 spring games where Mac Jones snapped, he went off. He was throwing haymakers out there. We left that stadium. A lot of us that believed, we left going, man, if this Mac Jizzle, if this Mac 10 ever gets a shot at this thing, he got something. You see this? He got something right here. So we had an idea with, Mac Jones in those spring games. And even down to, remember, 2017 between Jalen and Tua. That was a fire show in 2017. We left the stadium going, man, Tua. But nah, bruh. Jalen got that cannon too, bruh. Did you see Jalen throw that 70-yard touchdown? You saw Jalen throw that 60-yard bomb? You saw Jalen? And it became kind of too close to call at that moment. But, Jalen Hurts started that year. Tua came off the bench and won the national championship. So there have been there've been a couple of moments where A-Day has served for more than just a formality. This year's spring game, mark it right now, biggest game of the Saban era. If you're a Tide fan, you were robbed of this last year. You are hungry, you are starving, you're going to be at this game because this game will entail who's QB1. We're going to get a glimpse of this. Who's QB1 between Bryce Young and Paul Tyson. We take a break right now on the show. Don't touch that dial, just getting started. Upon our return, we will entertain your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your texts, your chats, your concerns after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
As we are back into the action here, folks, on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. Number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown, Alabama Magazine. And, folks, once again, we appreciate you, the passionate, the faithful, just the exciting Alabama Nation, Alabama football fans that you are. It's because of you that we've got this brand new set here. Your super chats, your love, you guys have delivered in getting this set right here that is behind me on the show. So stay tuned, because in the future we got more things coming, more excitement coming, more pieces to build around here. So continue to keep it locked and loaded right here on In My Own Words. We got you covered. But we got some super chats to get to right now, so we'll get to those. And first and foremost here, we got Jimmy Clay right now. Jimmy Clay, first and foremost, with that $100 donation. Appreciate that love there coming from Jimmy the Badman Clay. And Randy Harris, that $20 donation coming from him. And with Randy Harris and Jimmy Clay, we have fulfilled the daily super chat goal of $75. Daily super chat go. Appreciating Jimmy Clay and Randy Harris for the love, for the support, for starting this off here on this show. But as we now get into the call segment here, call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That's the number to call, 205-448-1358. We take our first call of the night. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Hey, Steven.
What's happening?
You know what, Steven? I'm not having a good day because I feel like Jalen Milroe is getting slept on. He throws a beautiful ball. He's big. You know, we haven't had, really big guys for long, that can run. Like, in the past, we've had Jalen. But this guy, I feel like he's special, and I really want to see more out of, spring practice of him.
This is why I'm saying, man, this A-Day game is the biggest of the Saban era, because everybody's going to get to see with their own eyeballs who's really doing it, whether it's Paul, whether it's Bryce, whether it's Jalen Milroe. And once again, I mean, it would not be a shock if Milroe comes out with it, just due to, I mean, we saw what Jalen Hurts did in 2016. Nobody before that game thought that Hurts would be the best-looking quarterback on the field. People looked at Blake Barnett. People said, well, Cooper Bateman's been here for 100 years. He should be the guy. David Cornwell's been here for 50 years. He should be the guy. But it was Jalen Hurts who came out with it. So it's a definite possibility. It's just this A-Day game, this spring game, wherever you are as a Bama fan, you got to be watching this game. Absolutely. Got to be watching this game. We appreciate that fan right there calling in, talking about one Jalen Milroe. And it's an interesting conversation. It's a push here for QB1. But we take this call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Hey, Steven, it's New Jack. How are you doing, man?
New Jack doing well, man. It's Friday, doing well. Thankfully, place where, I live was not, affected by the storms from last night, so I'm doing well.
Yeah, I'm down here in Florida, so it was peaceful where I am. I think I might have a little bit of a fever, and I'm worried I got the COVID. I got my appointment set up for the vaccine on Monday. Probably going to get kicked out of the chat because I just, revealed myself as a mask person. But I went to an MMA thing last weekend, was a little bit too cowardly to wear the mask. And every day I have just been getting more and more tired. Now I got a fever. No cough, I don't know, but I'm exhausted and I got a fever, man. I'm worried. So, but the thing that makes me never worry is that the cream always rises to the top. And to me, it doesn't matter if it's Bryce Young or if it's Paul Tyson or if it's Milroe. Unlike Kirby, Saban has definitely learned how to promote competition, how to get them to get hungry. There's only one quarterback, and because we got, a sort of an embarrassment of riches, to me, it doesn't matter who really, wins the job, because I know it's going to be the best one, and that is going to be a hoss of a quarterback, whoever wins the competition. It's like having Luke Skywalker, or Han Solo. I mean, which one do you want? I don't know, It's like you said, we had Jalen Hurts, we had Tua, we had Mac. Blake Barnett was like a 5-star recruit. I think, he washed out because he could not hang with the talent.
Good point right there, New Jack. Good point. And this is going to be a very, very huge spring game. And it's one, like I said, that I'm excited for because we didn't get this last year. COVID took it from us a season ago. So for us to have a spring game where we can be inside Bryant-Denny, we can watch it for ourselves, and we can go home going, did I see what I just saw, or I expected that was going to happen, but it's just great to see it happen. The point being, we're going to be able to see all that we need to see in this A-Day game starting off as we get this quarterback one thing going off here. But we appreciate that call that's coming in from New Jack here to the show. But as always, folks, if you're getting your topics in, your calls in, 205-448-1358. That's the number right there, 205-448-1358. But the topic right now is Mac Jones. And the San Francisco 49ers, there's been a bunch of trades going around today in terms of preparing for the NFL draft. A lot of trades going on. Miami Dolphins trading with the Eagles and trading with the 49ers. There's a lot of trades. Miami traded the number 3 overall pick. I didn't think they should have done it, but Miami traded the number 3 overall pick to the San Francisco 49ers. So the Niners have Miami's number 3 pick. And with that being said, here is where Mac Jones potentially can be a top 5 pick in this upcoming draft. And the reason why I say this is, and I know a lot of people feel like, well, if you're San Francisco, you shouldn't do this. Jimmy Garoppolo's good. Jimmy Garoppolo's really talented. Stick with Jimmy G. You're pressing too much. This is way too much of a reach to go up here and get Mac Jones when he may be still available at number 12 or 13 where you originally were. Let me tell you this right now. The reason why San Francisco traded up, San Francisco really likes Mac Jones. San Francisco feels like this is our guy. This could be our guy. And because, if we don't trade up, what if we lose him? What if Carolina gets him at 8? What if somebody else gets him before it gets down to number 12 of a number 13 pick? So because we feel like this is a guy for us, we're going to trade up here and we're going to have our chance to get him, to snatch him in this particular draft. Because, I mean, let's be honest with you. Let's be honest right here. Jimmy Garoppolo's good. I'm not saying he's not, but he's been through some injuries here. And with the San Francisco 49ers making this move, this means they are willing to move off Garoppolo. And with the offensive genius that Kyle Shanahan is, with the genius that he is, the closest thing that Mac Jones has in terms of being in an offense that would resemble what he had at Alabama under Sarkisian is what Kyle Shanahan is presenting for the 49ers. And if the 49ers get Mac, here are the weapons he would be throwing to. Brandon Ayuk, who's a big-time receiver. Travis Benjamin, who's pretty darn good. Deebo Samuel, who's a Swiss Army knife. And George Kittle at tight end, who's one of the best tight ends, if not the best tight end in the league as of right now. So San Fran making this move with Miami to get the number 3 overall pick from the Dolphins. This is the 49ers saying, we think that Mac Jones might not be off the board by the time it gets to 12 or 13. So we need to trade up to see, can we get our guy at the number 3 overall pick? So Mac Jones has made him the money if we're talking about San Francisco moving up, trying to get him. He would be a good fit there for the 49ers on that West Coast as well. But got to shout out Trevor Davis. Trevor Davis, that $4.99 in the Super Chats. Appreciate that love there coming from Trevor Davis. And the pimp of the Blue Ridge Gang, Senator Hines, dropping in that $50 donation on his end. So appreciate Trevor Davis and our own Senator helping us out on the show. We take a break right now. Don't touch that down. Don't touch it, because upon our return, we sit down with former Alabama wide receiver Christion Jones to talk your Crimson Tide after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, we are back in from the break on the number 1 forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But we go over right now to the In My Own Words hotline where we pick up another heavy hitter of a guest. People, you talk about one of the best receivers, kickoff returners, punt returners, athletes to come from the University of Alabama in the Nick Saban era, a 2-time national champion, a 2-time SEC champion, Christion CJ the Man Jones. Christion Jones, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
What's going on, man? I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. We got Christion Jones on the show, former Alabama receiver, played from 2011 to 2014, 2-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion as well. So, Christion, you know, first and foremost here, you look at, it's springtime at Alabama, springtime for the Crimson Tide football program. When you were playing under Coach Saban during your tenure at Alabama, what was kind of the biggest, motivation, the biggest goals? What were you looking to do when it came to spring football? What were you looking to do when you were on the field under Coach Saban?
first off, me personally, I was trying to get noticed, trying to make that play, to develop and to build trust with my teammates and build trust with the quarterback, because every year is different. Even if you have the same guys, it's still a different. Some guys aren't even back yet. Some guys are hurt, so guys having to do extra things like play on special teams. So it's pretty much a time to showcase your talent, especially as a freshman, but more so even being a junior or a senior coming in, and being able to be a leader and stepping into another magnified role. So it's a very exciting time. I know it's different times because of COVID, but I know it's a very exciting time, especially when we had our spring. And I know it'll be a perfect time for the freshmen to showcase their talent in front of the coaches and build some trust on the team.
If you're just tuning into the show, ladies and gentlemen, on a Friday, we're joined here by Christion Jones, former Alabama wide receiver. Christion Jones played from 2011 to 2014, two-time national champion, two-time SEC champion. Now, Christion, you were an electrifying receiver at Alabama. It didn't matter if they had you on the outside, the inside, kick return, punt return. You made it do what it do. But then along with you, Alabama had some big-time number one primary receivers, whether those guys were Julio Jones or Amari Cooper or Calvin Ridley or Judy or here recently now Devontae Smith. They've had some guys where they carried that mantle as the number one receiver, and they carried that mantle with the utmost pride and professionalism. As you look at somebody like a John Mechie, do you see him as the type that can continue carrying that mantle? Do you see Mechie as somebody that can do that? Or is there somebody else on this roster that you have your eye on that can carry that mantle as the number one guy?
Well, my opinion, I believe that Mechie definitely has the ability to be able to be out wide, and he's shown that he can play out wide and in the slot. So he's already shown the capabilities and the ability to do what he needs to do at those positions. The only thing I think he needs to focus on is getting healthy, and use this time to learn the offense and see the game play, and that would also help him with being the leader. But also we do have a few freshmen who come in as going to be like a different type of look with like two guys coming in like 6'3", and you have a guy coming in that's supposed to be Mr. Speedy, running a 10.5, 100 meter. 100 meter in high school. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to have leverage to be able to do some of the things that last year. The only thing is we're going to be able to lock in on the offensive line and quarterback play, with the different play calls, and we got to figure out what type of OC we have as well.
Now, Christion, you played primarily with one. You played primarily with one offensive coordinator, and I know Lane Kiffin came in 2014, and that made a lot of difference with Kiffin coming in. But how is it that you can have different coordinators, different play callers come in, but it's still Nick Saban's system, right? Like Nick Saban still is the overarching theme. The coordinator may bring a wrinkle, the coordinator may bring a different alteration, but at the end of the day, it's the Nick Saban way, it's the Saban system. Now, how has he been able to convince you guys, hey, a new face is in here, but it's still business as usual. It still ran through me, Nick Saban?
Well, I think when Coach Saban hires someone, he's hiring trust in that coach. So it's only right for us to look at him as a shadow of Coach Saban. So it's just utmost respect when it comes to us trusting Coach Saban, and when it comes to him trusting his program and the way he gets things done. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to learning new plays and new different systems, like you say, one OC come in and give a different twitch, Coach Saban gives them full leverage on that. Only thing it's about is when it gets clutch in different situations of a game, that is when he's most probably, I would say, wanting them to be more alert when in their play calling, when it's in different type of situations. Are you managing the game well? Other than that, he's letting these OCs do pretty much everything they want to do. They have all control, and I think that's a pat on the back for Coach Saban, because a lot of coaches would try to get themselves involved in the offense or the scheme, and Coach Saban totally doesn't do that.
If you're just, once again, folks, tuning into the show on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show, we got former Alabama wide receiver Christion Jones on the line right now, played from 2011 to 2014, two-time SEC champion, two-time national champion live here on the In My Own Words hotline. So, Christion, now you played with two strong quarterbacks. And I remember you and I had a conversation about this before even coming on the show. Like, A.J. McCarron had serious swag. Like, McCarron had some serious juice. So you played with A.J., but then you also played with the Blake Sims, who was a dog. A lot of people counted Blake Sims out.
Sir.
A lot of people doubted Blake Sims,
Sir.
and he ended up proving people wrong. And to me, one of the most slept-on quarterbacks in the history of Bama football, that being one Blake Sims. As you look at this quarterback competition, though, between Bryce Young and Paul Tyson, you can even throw Jalen Milroe also in there as well, as he's the number 3 guy, but the conversation centered around Bryce and Paul. What do you like about this quarterback competition? What intrigues you about it? And what are the traits that both of these guys have that you like right now as we're seeing this competition unfold?
Well, for Bryce Young, I've seen him last spring, throw a little bit with my own eyes with Mac Jones, and the thing about it was, he has the capabilities. We all seen him this season, whether he played very well or whether he made some bad mistakes. None of that matters really. I think that's why this spring is going to be so much fun, because we don't know anything really about Paul. So this is the time where they get to build trust with the coaches, with the players, with themselves, get confidence, being able to run an offense. This is also a time where they can be able to use their leadership skills and try to win the eye of the coaches. I don't think that the spot is just blatant open, but I do think we do have trust in Bryce Young to get the job done this year. He is the guy that I think Alabama and Coach Saban is looking to be the number one guy, but we haven't seen Paul. So I think we still have to give room there to give him a chance. Because one thing about it, if your backup is good, you're gonna have a great team. If the backup on your team playing exceptional, can come in and do the exact same things. Nothing stops on beat. Everything is still going and flowing with the offense. He still has control of the offense. You're gonna have a great team.
So, Christion, let me ask you this then. At what point during AJ's starting career as a quarterback and Blake's starting season in 2014, at what point, whether it was in practice, whether it was in a game, at what point did you and the team go, okay, that's our guy? At what point did you feel like AJ was the guy, and at what point did you feel like Blake Sims was the guy?
For AJ, I think it was really fighting back and losing against LSU to sort of be an eye-opener. And even before then, we knew he was the guy with the way he carried the team, the respect he had for the team. But I would say after we lost to LSU, my freshman year in 2011, he kind of had a twitch where he started making plays, and we wasn't passing the ball as much, but we had some drop back plays, and he was looking like senior AJ. As a sophomore, redshirt sophomore. So at the same time, it's still to me, Blake Sims' moment, really his strikeout moment, his big game was Florida, where everybody gained trust. Everybody knew, okay, if we're gonna win or lose, we got to do it with this guy. Lane had that same competitive nature with him, and he sort of grabbed the same competitive nature Lane Kiffin had. That's why they was able to communicate with just looking at each other. Like they already had things set up before, and it wasn't rehearsed. The things that him and Blake Sims and the connection they was able to have. And I do agree with you when you say that Blake Sims is one of the most slept-on quarterbacks, because I think he do not get his just due for what he did and what he accomplished here at the university.
He's Christion Jones, ladies and gentlemen, joining us right here via the phone lines, the In My Own Words hotlines here on a Friday. Former Alabama receiver, played from 2011 to 2014, a two-time SEC champion, two-time national champion, helping us out here. Christion, we appreciate it, man. Be good. Take care of yourself, man. See you soon, brother.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely. That was Christion Jones, former Alabama wide receiver, spending some time here with us on the show, talking some spring practice, some John Mechie, the quarterback conversation, spending some good time there with one Christion Jones. We take a break right now on the show. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we go back into the phone lines to take your phone calls, your thoughts, your concerns, your questions. We get back into a dialogue with you, the Bama Nation, after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, we are back in. We are back in from the break of a number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And before we get into the phone lines to take your calls, we got some super chats to get to. And it's Willie351 with that $7.77 coming in here. $7.77 from Willie351. And Randy Harris, that $10 donation coming from Randy Harris. So we appreciate Willie351 for the love, Randy Harris for the love, as well as you guys continuing to help us out there, dropping that appreciation into the TDA hat in terms of donations. Got to also remind you of mybookie.ag. It's mybookie.ag, sponsor here to Touchdown Alabama Magazine. So if you feel lucky, you feel fortunate, you feel like you got the skills to pay the bills in terms of wagering on these football games, you check this out right here. You go to mybookie.ag, you make the right play and sign up today. And when you do, you use the promo code TDAlabama to get your deposit matched halfway. That's all the way up to $1,000. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. You cannot beat it. So check them out right there, mybookie.ag. It's mybookie.ag. Sign up today using the promo code TDAlabama. But we get back to the phone lines now, 205-448-1358. That's the number to call in and let your voice be heard, 205-448-1358. But before we take your calls right now, we got this topic right here, and I mentioned in the first call segment that there are so many trades going on in the NFL in terms of the draft. One of those teams involved with trades, the Miami Dolphins, giving up the number 3 overall pick to the San Francisco 49ers. But in return, the Dolphins get the Eagles' 6th pick. I mean, this is crazy. So now the Dolphins have the number 6 overall pick here in this draft. And this is where it gets interesting, because who do the Dolphins get at wide receiver? Does it get Devontae Smith with a number 6 overall pick, or does it go Jalen Waddle here? Because right now I feel like with the Dolphins dropping from 3 to 6, we've kind of reached that Jalen Waddle window, if you will. Like, if Miami stays at 3, no doubt Devontae Smith, bucket, that's his spot. But because they dropped down to 6, this is the area where a lot of draft pundits, draft scouts, draft evaluators, they have Jalen Waddle in this area right here. So what does Miami do with this move? Now, they've already started building around Tua Tagovailoa by getting Will Fuller from the Houston Texans, by getting Robert Foster from the Washington football team. Foster played with Tua at Alabama during their time together. So what's the next move here for the Dolphins as they are committed to Tua? Is it Devontae Smith with the number 6 overall pick, or is it Jalen Waddle at the number 6 overall pick? So this is really interesting right now to try to see, what does General Manager Chris Grier, what does Brian Flores as the head coach, what does the Miami front office, what does the organization do in terms of this pick right here? Because, like I mentioned, this is the area where a lot of people have Jalen Waddle coming off the board here. Either he was going to come off the board at number 6 to Philadelphia, or at number 7 to the Detroit Lions. But because Miami traded its 3rd pick to San Francisco, and the Eagles have traded its 6th pick to Miami, now it's going to be the fun part. What does Miami do here with the number 6 overall pick? So this draft, folks, this draft, oh, shorty, this draft, getting crazy, getting real crazy. Gonna be fun here to see what takes place. But we take a break right now. Don't touch that dial, because upon our return, and before we take this break, as always, be sure to give a thumbs up on the show. Hit that like button, run those likes up, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on as we continue giving you Bama football. But upon our return, I'm going to react to something Nick Saban said earlier today about, you need more than defense to win championships now. So I'm going to react to that Nick Saban statement right after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, we are back in from the break of a number 1 forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate everybody tuning into the show on this evening. And before we jump into the final topic, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. So for all of you fans still overjoyed with the Tide's national championship, check out our championship collection merch. That means you grab you an 18 of them things, folk, hoodie, t-shirt, hoodie, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs which features all 18 championship years on the back. You head over to TDAwear.com. Do it right now, TDAwear.com, and go over championship collections tab and get you that merch today. Copy those shirts, show them that support to Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Well, Coach Saban had a few words today. He had a statement today that described, why it takes more than defense now to win championships, or to better put it, how, you're not going to see any more of these elite defenses just shutting teams out as you once did. So aside from hearing it from me, check out Nick Saban. Right, this is what Coach Saban had to say today. Check him out.
We have good defense. I mean, we gave up 19 points a game last year, and that was first in the SEC. 19 points a game. That's 6 points above what we think is average, which is giving up 13 points a game. And it's first in the SEC. So the game is different now. People score fast. The whole idea, like I grew up with the idea that you play good defense, you run the ball, you control vertical field position on special teams, and you're going to win. Whoever rushes the ball the most for the most yards is going to win the game. You're not going to win anything now doing that. Because the way the spread is, the way the rules are to run RPOs, the way the rules are that you can block downfield and throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, those rules have changed college football. All right, and no huddle fastball has changed college football. So I changed my philosophy about 5 or 6 years ago. All right, and it was more than that. When Lane came here, we said we got to outscore him.
You heard from Nick Saban, people. So now I'm going to give my reaction to this. And to me, my opinion, I agree with him. And I've been saying this for quite some time that the game's changed. I've been saying this for quite some time that the system now favors the offenses. The rules now favor the offenses. The analytics now favor the offenses. The numbers now favor the offenses. All the data favors the offenses, and the defenses are trying to catch up to some degree. I've been saying this for quite some time, and this is Nick Saban evolving. We have to evolve. I mean, you're not going to stay an infant your whole life. You're going to become a toddler. You're going to go from drinking milk out of a bottle or drinking Similac or breast milk to moving on to eating solid food. You're going to go from baby to toddler to elementary school, junior high, high school, college, adulthood. You grow. You grow, you change, you evolve. Nick Saban grows, changes, evolves. So I agree with him on this statement because due to the fact that you go back and you look at you go back and look at 2014 for just a moment here. Nick Saban saw this coming in 2014. Remember how during that season you had Gus Malzahn running that fastball, no huddle, and it was frustrating in Alabama. And you remember how Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss was running that fastball, no huddle, and it was frustrating in Alabama. And other teams along with those teams are going to run that fastball, no huddle offense, and it was frustrating in Alabama. Well, Nick Saban knew right then the game's changing. The game is changing. Things are evolved. Things are becoming different. How can I stay afloat and change with the time? How can I stay afloat to make sure that I'm remaining at the top of college football? We've seen Bear Bryant do this. Bear Bryant went from the wishbone to, conventional style offense. We've seen Bear Bryant do this. We've seen other coaches do this. You evolve, you change with the time, because if you don't evolve, if you don't change, you're going to get passed by. You're going to get run over. You're going to get left behind. And I understand you got a lot of the traditional Bama fans going, well, Steven, does this mean that Bama defense is just going to fall by the wayside? Does this mean that, Saban's just going to stop paying attention to detail? Does this mean that Saban's just going to give up and we're not going to have a great defense and we're not going to be able to stop people and we're not going to be able to tackle and we're not going to be able to make plays? Does this mean that Saban's going to bump defense, just cast it out of the water? Now, I'm not saying that. This is not bump defense. This is not cast defense out of the water. This is saying Saban fully understands where the game's going. He fully understands where the game's trending. He fully understands where the game's headed, and it's headed more offense. That's where it is right now. Kids coming out of high school, these quarterbacks, these running backs, these receivers coming out of high school know way more now at these camps than ever before. You look at these offensive coordinators, these offensive-minded head coaches, they are studying the data, they're studying the analytics, they're studying the numbers, they're studying the components now more than ever before. So they know how to trick defenses, how to maneuver defenses, how to sidetrack defenses, how to stretch them things so they pop. They know. And now you're seeing Saban come out saying it. So, in my opinion, in my opinion, I agree with him. But then you have others that go, well, Steve, this is simple. All you got to do to get the defense back right, fire Pete Golding. That's all you got to do. Fire Pete Golding. If you fire Pete Golding, you can get the defense back right. We can have our cake and eat it too. We can be dominant offense, defense, special teams. All you got to do is fire Pete Golding. Shorty, it ain't that simple, folks. It ain't that simple, baby. It's not that simple. Because let's say this. Peep this pimp juice. Let's say if you fire Pete Golding, if you fire him, who do you go out there and get? Who do you trust that can definitively, beyond a shout of a doubt, beyond the drop of a hat, shut these fastball offenses down? Who can you get that can do that? Because the guru of defense, we thought he was the guru of defense, Brent Venables of Clemson, he couldn't shut it down. Ohio State dropped 50 on that man's head. He couldn't shut it down. Then the Ohio State defensive coordinator, people thought maybe he can slow down Bama. Bama dropped 50 on that man's head. So who can you go out there, if you're going to fire Pete Golding, who can you go out there that can definitively shut down these fastball offenses and not give them nothing? You are going to be hard-pressed to find somebody defensively that can go out there and shut these guys down. We have gotten to where it's a bend but don't break defense, and that's fine. That style got Alabama to a national championship because you saw down the stretch of games last year where the defense got better, where it was getting to the quarterback, where it was sacking the quarterback, where it was making plays, where it was getting stops. We all saw where the defense got better, and if anything, this upcoming season, the bulk of that defense, all the marquee guys are back on that side of the ball, and they all have 2 to 3 to 4 years big experience with Pete Golding. So if there was ever a year where we can take a step forward and be better and go from better to better, this upcoming season would be that season. But going back to answering Nick Saban's thoughts, in my opinion, I agree with him. I've been saying it for a minute now, that the schemes change, things have evolved, the games change, and if you want to be the best, you got to change with the times and tweak it to where you can do it better. And Nick Saban's tweaked it to where he's doing it better on the offensive side of the ball, and defense has to find ways to get better step by step, piece by piece, bit by bit. So that's Nick Saban right there. If you don't believe how he put it, that's how I'm putting it right there in my own opinion. But as always, folks, you want the best in news, notes, information here on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by access the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store, Google Play Store. If you got the Android phone, for your audio listening needs, we got you right here, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Monday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Gotta shout out Gucci Tide. One time, that $10 donation coming from Gucci Tide. We've reached 200, 2 bills, 2 stacks. We've reached $200 here in the Super Chats. Appreciate you guys, all of you guys, for the love, the fire, the passion, the support, the genuineness coming from you, the Alabama football fan base. You can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. You can also, if you're trying to get the print copy of TDA, the print copy is coming soon. You go to touchdownalabama.com, you click join, become a member, a subscriber today. Go on to touchdownalabama.com, clicking join if you're trying to get the print copy of the magazine. Also, if you're still trying to get that 4-finger bling necklace courtesy of WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com, that link in the description too. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate and value those husbands. Children, weekend is in. Do the right thing, smart thing, good thing, but legitimate thing to not be bored. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, Protect the loved ones around you. Enjoy the Sweet 16 this weekend as Bama men's basketball takes on UCLA on Sunday. Enjoy the game this weekend. Until next time, folks, so long, everybody. Spending my own words.